Well, the subject now is a positive mental attitude. I want to call your attention to the fact that nothing constructive and worthy of man's efforts ever has been or ever will be achieved except that which comes from a positive mental attitude based on definiteness of purpose and activated by a burning desire and intensified until the burning desire is elevated to the plane of applied faith. Now, here are 5 steps, 5 different conditions of the mind, all of which lead up to a positive mental attitude. Take number 1, for instance, wishes. Everybody has a stock of wishes. They wish for this, they wish for that, and they wish for the other thing. We all have wishes. Well, nothing very much happens when you just wish for things, does it? No. Nothing happens. Well, then you go a little bit further and you become curious. You put in a lot of time through idle curiosity. And do you think anything ever happens worthwhile in connection with the expression of idle curiosity? No. However, you can and you do consume a lot of time oftentimes with idle curiosity, don't you? You put in a lot of time oftentimes studying what your neighbors do or do not do, what your competitors do or do not do, just out of idle curiosity. Well, that's not leading to a positive mental attitude. Then a step above that, you have hopes. Your wishes now have taken on a more concrete form. They become hopes, hopes of achievement, hopes of attainment, hope of accomplishment, hopes of accumulation of things that you want. Well, just a hope by itself is not very effective, is it? Because we all have a flock of hopes, but not all of us who have hopes have success. We just hope for success. It is, however, better than wishing for it, isn't it? Well, what is the difference between a hope and a wish? Yes, that's right. A hope is it's beginning to take on the nature of faith, isn't it? That's the idea. You're transmuting a wish into that very desirable state of mind known as faith. Then you come on, you step up your mental attitude to where your hopes are transmuted into something else known as a burning desire. Now, is there any difference between a burning desire and an ordinary desire?
Yes.
That's right. A burning desire is an intensified desire based upon hope, based upon definiteness of purpose. How does one go about developing a burning desire for anything? If I didn't know the answer to this, believe me, I could get me a flock of answers here, couldn't I? That's fine. Well, a burning desire is an obsessional desire, isn't it? And it certainly, you cannot have a burning desire without a motive or motives back of it, can you? And the more motives you can have for a definite thing, the quicker you will fan your emotions into what is known as a burning desire. But however, that's not enough. There's something else. There's another state of mind you must have before you can be sure of success. And what is that? Applied faith. Now then, you have transmuted wishes, idle curiosity, hopes, and even a burning desire. You've stepped all those up into something still higher. And that is applied faith. What is the difference between applied faith and ordinary belief in things? That's right. That word applied might well be synonymous to action. You might say active faith. Applied faith and active faith is exactly the same, means the same thing. Faith backed by action, something that you do about it. A prayer brings positive results only when it is expressed in a positive mental attitude. And the most effective prayers are those expressed by individuals who have conditioned their minds to habitually speak in terms of a positive mental attitude. Do you have any idea, each one of you, let me put this question to each one of you. Do you have any idea of the proportionate amount of your time that you devote each day in thinking of the negative side of things in comparison with the positive side? Wouldn't it be interesting if you kept a tabulation for 2 or 3 days of the exact amount of time you put in thinking about the no-can-do side of life and the can-do side, or the positive side, the negative side? You might be astounded, even the most successful people would be astounded to find out how many hours they put in each day in negative thinking. And the very outstanding successes in the world, the great leaders, are the ones that put in very little, if any, time in thinking on the negative side. They put in all of their time thinking on the positive side. I once asked Henry Ford if there was anything in the world that he wanted to do that he couldn't do, and he said no, he didn't believe there was. I asked him if there ever had been. He said, oh yes, back in the early days before he had learned how to use his mind. And I said, well, now, just what do you mean by that? Well, he said, now, when I want a thing, I want to do a thing, I start in finding out what I can do about it, I start doing that, and I don't bother about what I can't do because I just let that alone. That was a homely statement, but I want to tell you there's a world of philosophy wrapped up in that statement. He put his mind into doing something about the part that he could do something about, and thinking about that and not about the part that he couldn't do anything about. I venture the suggestion that if you put a problem to the majority of people, a difficult problem, they will immediately begin to tell you all of the reasons why the problem can't be solved. And if there are some things about the problem that are favorable and some that are unfavorable, the majority of people will see the things that are unfavorable first and oftentimes never see the favorable side. I don't believe there are any problems in connection with which you can't do something in connection with which there are not some favorable sides too. I can't think of a single problem that could confront me that wouldn't have a favorable side to it. If nothing else, the favorable side would consist in the fact that I would say that if it's a problem I can solve, I will solve it, and if it's a problem I can't solve, I'll not worry about it. And that's something. But the majority of people, when they're confronted with difficult propositions or problems that they can't solve, they start worrying. And then they go into what kind of a state of mind? Negative state of mind. And do you ever accomplish anything worthwhile when you're in that state of mind? No. No, you don't. You're only muddying the water when you make your mind negative. You never accomplish anything worthwhile. You have to learn to keep your mind positive all the time when you want to do things worthwhile. Does a positive mental attitude attract opportunities, or does it repel them? Does a negative mental attitude attract favorable opportunities for you, or repel them? It repels them, doesn't it? Definitely. And does that repelling of opportunities have anything to do with your merit or right to have opportunities? No. Nothing whatsoever. Absolutely not. You may be just. You may have the right to all of the good things in life. You may be entitled to them, but if you have a negative mental attitude, you will repel the opportunities leading to the attainment of those things. So your job, mainly, is to keep your mind positive so it will attract to you the things that you want, the things that you desire, the things that you are going after. Had you ever stopped to think why it is that prayer generally doesn't bring anything about except a negative result? Had you ever stopped to wonder about that?